Hey champions, it's Student X, and in this video we'll break down how learners are split between mathematics, tourism, geography. We'll calculate the probability of sitting for at least 2 exams and test if 2 events are independent step by step. So grab your pen, sketch that Venn diagram, and let's make these marks together. Let's dive right in. Question 11. A certain number of learners are sitting for examinations in mathematics, tourism, and geography. And this is the information we have regarding the number of students. Now 11.1 asks us to draw a Venn diagram that represents all the students sitting for these examinations. So after minimizing for space, this is our Venn diagram. Blue for maths, red for geography, and green for tourism. Now the first thing we do when filling in the Venn diagram is to start with the most inner part, which is the space over here, the intersection of all three. So notice that when you read through the information, it doesn't explicitly say how many students take all three subjects, but also it doesn't explicitly say that no student takes all three subjects. Hence, we're just going to fill the space with an X. So this X is simply going to remain as our unknown. And then when moving on to the second tier, where you have an intersection between two subjects, over here, we know that 5 learners sit for mathematics and tourism. So I have a 5 over here. Also, 4 learners sit for mathematics and geography. So I'm going to put a 4 over here. And notice that, of course, this is the intersection for maths and geography. And then lastly, 3 learners sit for tourism and geography, but not for mathematics. So this is what I have over here. And when moving on to the next bit of information, we have that 6 learners sit only for tourism. So now this is special information because you can immediately write our 6 over here. And then, of course, we have the final bit for the last tier, where 22 sit for mathematics, 16 sit for tourism, and 18 sit for geography. But now the question is, what is our value X, you see? And what remaining numbers do we add here for maths and here for geography? So now we know, when starting with tourism, since we basically have all the numbers inside, we can simply solve for our X. So for tourism, we have 16 is equal to 6 plus 5 plus 3 plus x, you see. So the total number of learners sitting for tourism is 16, meaning that the addition of all the numbers in the green circle is supposed to add up to 16. That's why I added everything here on the right hand side. So we have 16 is equal to 6 plus 5, which is 11, plus 3, which is 14, plus x, and then when I subtract 14 on both sides, I'm going to get x is equal to 2. And so immediately I can replace my x in the middle with a 2. So now filling in the rest of the information, we know that, okay, the total number of learners who sit for mathematics is 22, meaning all the numbers inside the blue circle is supposed to add up to 22. So we have 22 is equal to 5 plus 4 plus 2 plus our unknown, which we're just going to denote as y. You see, this is our y. So when I add everything up, I'm going to have 22 is equal to 5 plus 4, which is 9, plus 2, which is 11, plus y. And then when I subtract 11 on both sides, I'm going to get y is equal to 11. So I know that the missing number for mathematics is simply 11. Likewise, when I move on to geography, I know that the total number of learners who sit for geography is equal to 18. So the addition of all my numbers in the red circle must be equal to 18. So I have 18 is equal to 4 plus 2 plus 3. And then, of course, plus our unknown, which we're just going to label as m. You see, so our m is over here. So when we solve everything, we're going to have 18 is equal to 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 3 which is 9, plus m. So when I subtract 9 on both sides, I'm going to get m is equal to 9. And that's where I fill in my missing information. And that's it, the Venn diagram drawn. So can you see, you're just supposed to take things step by step and methodically, starting with the most crucial information and starting from inside and moving outwards. Now you get 1 tick for stating that x is equal to 2. You get another tick for getting the correct layer 4, 5, and 3. And then you get a final tick for getting the outer layer correct of 11, 6, and 9. 11.2. Calculate the probability that a learner chosen at random will sit for examinations in at least 2 subjects. So, of course, using the Venn diagram over here, and remember guys, it's important to get this Venn diagram right the first time because you're going to use these numbers in this situation. So the probability that a student sits for at least 2 subjects is simply equal to the number of students that sit for 2 subjects divided by the total number of students, you see. So we know that, okay, the number of students that sit for at least 2 subjects is simply the addition of this entire space over here. We have our 4 plus 5 plus our 3, but also plus our 2, because if we have students that sit for all 3 subjects, they still qualify as those who sit for at least 2. So basically the minimum amount of subjects that you must sit for must be 2. So that includes students who do math and geo, math and tourism, geo and tourism, but also all 3 subjects, you see. So we're going to have 4 plus 2 plus 5 plus 3 divided by the total number of students. And now the total number of students is simply the addition of all the numbers in the space over here. And when you add them up, you're simply going to get 14, you see. And of course, this simplifies to 14 divided by 40, which gives us a final answer of 0.35. Now you get 1 tick for the correct denominator and another tick for the correct numerator. 11.3 says determine if the events sitting for examinations in mathematics and sitting for examinations in tourism are independent. Support your answer with necessary calculations. So one thing is important is to understand what independence is or what independence means. So if 2 events are independent, it means that the probability of event A occurring multiplied by the probability of B occurring is simply equal to the probability of both events occurring at the same time, you see. So this is what independence means. So now contextualizing it to this situation, we know that they're asking if the probability of a student sitting in mathematics multiplied by the probability of a student sitting for tourism is simply equal to the probability of a student or students sitting for both mathematics and tourism, you see. So all we need to do is check if the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So the left-hand side, we know that students taking mathematics in this blue circle over here is simply 22 divided by the total number of students, which is 14. You see, that's the probability of those sitting for mathematics. Multiplied by those sitting for tourism, in this green circle over here, we know is simply 16 divided by 14, you see. And then on the right-hand side, we know that the probability of those sitting for both math and tourism is this shape over here, which is 5 plus 2. So you know that's 7 divided by 14, you see. And now when we simplify everything, we know that the left-hand side becomes 11 over 50. And then the right-hand side stays the same as 7 over 14. Now clearly these two fractions are not the same. And just to make sure, when we convert to decimals, we're going to get 0.22 on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side, we're going to get 0.175. And clearly, these two decimals are not the same, you see. They are not the same. Hence, sitting for examinations in mathematics and sitting for examinations in tourism are not independent. You see, they are not independent because the left-hand side is not equal to the right-hand side. It's only independent if this relationship is satisfied. Now you get one tick for getting the left-hand side correct. You get another tick for getting the right-hand side correct. You get the third tick for stating 11 over 50, and you get a final tick for stating the correct final answer. And there you have it. Venn diagrams drawn, probabilities found, and independence checked. All done and dusted. If this helped you, smash that like button, share it with a friend who needs it, and leave a comment below. See you in the next video with me, Tutor Next, simplifying success one question at a time.